All right, welcome to Creativity, the podcast where art and engineering collide. My name is Jeremy S. Cook, and this is my co-host, Max Maker.
Hi, everybody.
In this podcast, we'll discuss our personal creativity endeavors ranging from woodworking to electronics, arts, and life in general. Join us for our bi-weekly show about making something that wasn't there before. So Max, you want to introduce yourself? Tell the audience kind of a bit about who you are?
Yeah, sure. My name is Max Maker. I'm from Germany. I'm a product design engineer. So I did actually study making. And yeah, now I'm working as an engineer and I make stuff in my free time. I also make YouTube videos of my build projects. And I'm all into, engineering, art, being creative. How about you?
Very cool. Yeah, I'm kind of a similar background in some ways. I'm not from Germany. I'm actually from the United States in Florida, and we're about to get hit by a hurricane now. So hopefully I won't have to, remake a house or anything like that anytime soon. But yeah, my background is a mechanical engineering. I went to school for that. Worked in industry for about 10 years, and throughout that time, I just loved to make stuff on my own. And eventually I was able to make a career out of that. At least for the last year and a half or so, I've been able to support my family with it. So that's been really neat, being writing about other people's projects and being able to make my own. It's neat to be able to kind of do that professionally. So kind of a similar situation in some ways.
Yeah, that's a dream for so many makers out there to do what they do in their free time as a living and making money with it and quitting the day job.
Sure. I think one thing though, I had to really give my experience as an engineer a lot of credit, actually working in industry, because there's just so many things I learned about, metalworking. I guess that's a big thing. Electronics, just everything. You learn a lot in school, but you do learn a lot in the real world too. So it's great to have, you're surrounded by people who hopefully know more than you, and eventually you become one of the better people. But then you take that into your own making and kind of apply it to a new artistic direction, and it's really, really fun.
Yeah, I remember at university we learned so much theory about all these, scientific ways of going about engineering, and then I watched YouTube videos of people actually making things, and that's where I learned the trade. Like how to do carpentry, how to do welding, how to do metalwork, what grinder to use, what kind of tools to use. These are stuff you don't learn when you become an engineer. You learn all about maths and science, and
yeah, absolutely. It's I'm ashamed to admit that I'm not sure I could do a differentiate something anymore, integrate. I mean, it's just I hope that if I got a textbook back and looked at it for a few minutes, I would hope I could still do some of that. But I've forgotten so much. It's really kind of a shame.
I'm sure you can. Yeah, what I always say, like what we learned at university wasn't just all these techniques, but what we learned is to put our head to something and then just learn it, whatever it is, whatever technique it is, whatever field it is. If you put your mind to it, you can learn it and you can master it. Because we had so many modules, like over 5 years, we had 60 modules at university. So 60 times half a year for each module. And at the end of the module, we had an exam and we could kind of say, okay, I mastered this. I know all about it. I know all that he taught us, the professor. So now when there's a new task, I could just say, I can't do it now, but I can always learn it.
Yeah, that's a great attitude. I mean, you're right. I mean, because, before university or I guess college, it's just some of the stuff that I could do after those, I guess 5 years technically. I did an internship in the middle, but, just the stuff that I could do after and before, it's just amazing what you can learn if you put your mind to it. So, I guess you could take that over and carry it over to the physical world as I guess we do. So that's been pretty neat.
Yeah. Set yourself challenges, and lots of projects, there's lots of stuff we make. We don't know at the beginning how we're going to make it, but we all learn from it. I guess that's kind of the point of this podcast, to tell all the people out there that you can actually do learn how to make things and then go out and just make them.
Sure. And, of course, the best sources for that would be the Max Maker podcast the Max Maker YouTube channel, and of course the Jeremy S. Cook YouTube channel, right?
Same with yours, yeah. If you don't know our channels yet, we put links down in the description. And Jeremy had some really cool project. You made this Strand Beast.
Yeah, that was I guess kind of one of the cooler things I made actually ever. it was kind of funny. My aunt, she showed me a link to this strand beast that the guy in Belgium, I believe, made. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat, but I'll never build one of those. They just take too much work. But then,
Yeah, and there's so many parts and so many of the
oh
same
yeah,
parts.
well, and
It's not just 4 legs; it's like 20 legs.
yeah, that's right. I mean, what I what I eventually came up with was 4 legs and then 8. But you kind of see something and you're like, oh, I can't do that. But then I don't know. At least with me, it just you start thinking about it more and more, and it's like I have to do this. And then through that, I made 2 versions that didn't really walk correctly, and then a really tiny one that actually did walk with 8 legs, and then another 8 legs, and then after that, I actually made one that was clear, like out of clear polycarbonate, and I called this the Clear Walker, which is a little silly, but the town I live near is called Clearwater, and so Clear Walker. It was kind of a silly pun, but that was a really fun project, and I was glad I was able to get it done. Made some good video of it on the water and stuff. Just good experience.
Yeah, I found interesting how persistent you were with the project. It wouldn't work out at first. Like the legs got stuck and you had too much friction, and then you would add to it and improve and take it apart again. And that's something I find really hard with projects. I rather say like, screw this, on to the next thing, or this is good enough.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's I don't know. That was definitely the most involved project I've ever done. A lot of times it seems like you go from project to project, and well, I'll work on this for a while or work on this, and you end up with 10 projects that just are kind of not good at all, just never finished. But I guess that's something I think a lot of people have to remember, just to you maybe concentrate on what you want to do, and then just do it, not maybe flop around so much from one thing to another. I don't know. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I guess so. I always try to finish one project completely and then start the next one.
Right.
Because otherwise, it's also partially because my garage is pretty small, my workshop. So
that's always a concern. So now, what about you? What do you think your best project has been, or maybe most involved?
Oh, my most involved project. Oh, let me think. Well, it's probably my CNC machine, but unfortunately, that was before my time on YouTube. I built a CNC machine from scratch, and the challenge was building it without having access to a CNC machine. So I made a design. Sorry. I made a design where I can have all the parts cut on a water jet cutter, and then I just screw them into these aluminium profiles that, these, the ones you have in industry with the slots inside.
Oh, right. Yeah, like 80/20, or I think Bosch makes a version of it. Is that correct?
Yeah. The patent has run out now, so anybody can just copy that style of aluminium profile. And I've got a supply here in Germany. They cut you the profiles to length. It's very cheap and they're very accurate. So they did all the cutting of the profiles. Another company did it really cheaply, the water jet cutting, and I just had to assemble it basically.
Really? That's great. I always thought water jet cutting was a very expensive process.
Yeah, me too. But then I found this company. It's called like something like "We Cut For You" in German. Super cheap, super easy. It took 5 weeks though, but yeah, it was all perfect.
Right. Well, maybe they ship to America if it's cheap enough.
Well, now I've got a CNC machine. I don't need the services anymore.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah, I didn't even have a miter saw at the time.
Oh wow, I guess you do need the extrusion cut then. So
yeah.
So now, what about another interesting project? Looks like your juice press. That looks pretty neat.
Yeah, I had a juicer, but it wasn't very good. It just didn't work right. It did all these 3 things at once, like taking the whole apple and then crushing it down to bits, then screwing it through this fine mesh to extract the juice, so it puts a lot of pressure on it, and then it had to extract everything. And all 3 of them just wouldn't work. Either the carrots wouldn't go through because it couldn't chop the carrots, or it wouldn't get rid of the juice, so it wouldn't extract the juice, or it wouldn't push it all through the end. So 3 problems, and I thought, I can make it easier. And I also saw this Juicero. Have you heard about the Juicero?
The name sounds familiar, but I'm not sure. What is it?
It's this startup company from California. They had this idea: let's make a juice press, and let's make it a smart juice press. And they had pouches with chopped vegetables, and they were kind of a representative of a juice. So you buy this pouch, you put it in a Juicero, the juicer, it would squeeze the pouch and juice would come out at the bottom. So the cleanup would be easy because everything is contained in the pouch. And they collected, I believe it was something like $120 million of funding capital. And they built these juice machines, the juicers, they designed them. And Arduino versus Evil, he took one apart and he found that it was so well engineered, so over engineered. Like all the parts were CNC machined. Everything was made with precision, so they were really expensive. And basically they were having, pulling a loss on them.
Oh, wow.
They went out of business, I think, last week, or they stopped selling it.
Well, that's, it's appropriate that we talk about that for a podcast. And I guess that's the end of Juicero, I guess.
Yeah, well, maybe I brought an end to it with my $40 juice press because it basically does the same.
Yeah,
and I built it on the weekend.
Now, I guess that's one question. It seems like some of the coolest projects I've done, I don't end up using it all, and some of the projects that are kind of I don't know, some things I use all the time and some things I don't use at all. How would you rank the juice press? Is that you end up using that a lot or not?
Yeah, I use it every day basically.
Oh, that's awesome.
But even if I didn't, making it was fun. The video, people liked the video.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just interesting, like with this Strand Beast. What do I use that for? It sits in my garage. I don't know what to do with it, but I love making it.
Yeah.
And I loved showing it off to the world.
Yeah, and the people like it. The people like the video, and you inspire others.
Yeah, that's right. I inspire others to, make pointless stuff too, right?
I saw you've got lots of electronics at the top. So how do you actually power it or control it?
Oh, yeah. The Strand Beast or the Clearwalker is powered with an Arduino Mega. That actually uses a Bluetooth interface from, it can maybe any smartphone. You can put a remote control on it, which was a little bit nerve-wracking when I was using it at the beach because, if I drop my smartphone in the water, that's not much fun. I mean, having to replace that. But as far as the power itself, it's got two gear motors, fairly powerful gear motors that turn all the 8 legs. So it's an interesting concept. It's using linkages instead of a servo mechanism or servo control. It's all mechanical programming, I guess, if you want to call it that. And I gotta say, I didn't come up with the linkage system, but I guess I could say claim some good success for applying it in a new way.
Yeah, and you had some problems with it,
Oh yeah, and also I didn't realize how many bearings I would have to buy, and they a couple dollars per bearing adds up after a while when you've got.
Yeah, do you know how many you used?
I think it was close to 200. It was, it was a lot. And
that must have added some weight.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, they were both small 1/2-inch thrust bearings. And, I guess ironically, my first job out of college, I worked in a factory that made thrust bearings. So I'm like, I know exactly what these are.
Oh, really?
And, at some point they decided they no longer needed my services. So I made sure to buy it from their rivals, the product. But I guess this is a tangent, but I built something. I called it a spinner drone, which was a tiny little quadcopter with a ball bearing in the middle. Well, anyway, for the video, I thought it'd be great if I had an actual spinner to show off.
Yeah.
So I've never actually played with one before, and so I bought one, and it was $2, and it came with It came with a ball bearing in the middle and 3 on the sides. So, you've got 4 ball bearings for $2 is what I bought it for.
Oh, that's cheap.
And it's just, it's pretty amazing what you can get for, I don't know. I just think if I had to make this myself, what would it be? $100 maybe?
Yeah. Oh, is it a metal spinner or a plastic spinner?
Plastic spinner. I mean, maybe it wouldn't be that much. I mean, of course, mass production helps with the cost, but just.
Yeah, and how quickly they managed to sell them globally in such big quantities. I saw them like maybe 2 years ago on YouTube somewhere, and I thought like, well, this is a neat idea, and I thought maybe there's like a community that likes them, and suddenly this year it blew up so much, and I see them everywhere. Every gas station sells them, every little shop, every supermarket sells them.
Yeah, so I guess you never know.
Yeah, Next time I see something interesting on YouTube, I'll invest in it.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I guess it's time to move on to the next section, which is what progress have you made this week? So Jeremy, what have you done?
So myself, I've been working on I guess, well, I could say it's a top secret project, but it's a musical project,
Top secret.
a sequencer, a unique sequencer, a top secret project. But, as we were talking about the way we kind of go from project to project, I actually found a video I'd made, some video clips that I'd made, months ago about this Arduino enclosure that actually integrates a strain relief on it. So I've actually been putting that together and trying to make that into a full video. What it is, I cut out a box for an Arduino out of MDF on my CNC router and covered it up with a polycarbonate top and screwed it down with some screws. And the neat thing is I left some space on the side so you can actually, if you have wires in it, these wires will actually be clamped down by the side. So, you plug it into the female connectors and they stick out the sides of this enclosure.
Okay.
And they're very, very secure. So, I'd kind of forgotten about the project and I realized that, wow, I could actually make this into a pretty good video and, hopefully put it out there. So that's kind of what I've been working on this week.
So you collect all your old footage, or not old footage, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It was just kind of a project that I kind of set aside and pretty much had done, but I realized that, wow, I've forgotten about this, but it could actually be a pretty good project that would appeal to some people.
Yeah. Oh, that's really nice because, you already put the effort into shooting it and now using it in a useful way.
Absolutely. So
that's nice. I've got a few repair projects, like small projects where I just fixed things. And I think I cannot really post them because it's like a 2-minute video of something simple. People will be disappointed because normally I do these long build videos or like elaborate build videos. They're not long. I cut them really short. But this one, like if I post something that's so simple, people will say, oh, he's not putting any effort into this. Yeah, no,
it's hard to know what is good enough to post and what is not. Because, at first with that, I was like, oh, that's not good enough. And maybe, who knows, maybe it's not. I mean, it's all an experiment at this point.
Yeah.
But I think on the one hand, people see your video and they say, okay, that's a cool video. I'll subscribe to this guy. But on the other hand, your former subscribers might say, okay, this guy's not doing the same quality of work anymore. I'll unsubscribe from him. So I think you always kind of got to balance. Do you want to put a lot out there or put excellent quality? So
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, at this point, I'm still trying to figure that out. What do you think?
Well, I think my inspiration is this. It's a gamer from the UK. His name is Frankie on PC. It's completely unrelated to making, but he is like the secret star of the gaming community because he does so well-made videos. They're absolutely amazing, but he doesn't do many of them. Like sometimes now there are months between each video. And every time a new one comes out, you can see he put so much effort into this. He recorded this over weeks. He had friends join him to shoot special, scenes kind of. Lots of work with it. He didn't just record him playing. He actually directed people on what to do in games so he would shoot a nice video out of it. And yeah, people just love it. So I think making the best quality videos is the way to go. So quality over quantity.
Sure. Yeah, I can't argue with that. Now, if you can get both, that would be... that'd be the best, but I guess we both have to somehow make a living in between all of this.
There are actually lots of YouTubers that make kind of simple videos, but they can churn them out every week, and people like to see that. So it's, I guess, both strategies work.
Sure. I'm trying to think what's his name. So yeah, I mean, there's other examples. I mean, like you see Peter Brown. He makes great videos, but he seems to put them out on a fairly frequent basis, and I don't know how he's able to do that, but it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I guess at some point, if you have the audience, they watch anything. Not saying that he does bad videos. I really like his videos. They're really enjoyable. Just watching him do stuff is interesting. Mixing up epoxy and pouring it in, that's worthwhile watching somehow. I don't know why, but I enjoy it, and I don't think he needs like really cool projects or really elaborate builds with lots of details.
Yeah, it's interesting what a niche he's found for himself. I mean, who would have thought? Oh, well, use epoxy in a strange way, and people love it. But it's entertaining. It's so cool.
Yeah. Have you seen the gummy worm axe?
I think I saw I've heard of it. I don't think I saw the whole video.
Yeah, he made an axe handle out of epoxy and gummy bears inside.
That's great.
It wasn't that strong, but it looked really nice.
That guy, he's actually got a full-time job too, which I think is
Does he?
insane. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Do you know what he's doing?
I believe he works in IT or something. I actually interviewed him for a make article a while ago.
Very fitting, yeah.
So that's...
Do you know Arduino versus Evil?
I've heard of them. I don't watch them a lot.
Yeah, well,
I guess...
I always wonder what exactly is his expertise, because he knows a lot about machining. He knows a lot about like prospecting and gold stuff and like minerals. A lot about injection molding and materials. So I really wonder what he did, or maybe he worked in all of these fields.
Yeah, that's.
I'm sure somebody will point it out to us in the comments.
Yeah. It's amazing what kind of expertise is out there, like you said, and some people certainly have a lot of it. I guess we have a lot compared to some people, but
yeah,
others, I guess you always compare yourself to. Well, with YouTube, I mean, I see you have 6,000 subscribers or something, which is awesome compared to a lot of people. But you probably still think, okay, I got to get to that next level.
Definitely,
I would assume.
Definitely, yes. I mean, isn't it the same for you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, me
always more.
I hit 1,000 subscribers a while ago, and it's like, oh, that's pretty neat. But then it's like, well, I really need to have 2,000 or 3,000, or or 10,000. So. I'm sure it's that way for Casey Neistat or anybody. I'm sure everybody. And I guess that's healthy though, because otherwise you'd just be stagnating. Actually, on that matter, I didn't even ask you what you're working on this week. So before I forget about that.
Yeah, that's progress. That's the topic. I'm working on these coffee tables. 2 years ago, a friend of mine, he came back and said like, yeah, I got this giant trunk of a tree. And I said like, oh, is there more? And he's like, yeah, sure. They're chopping it down right now, and it's a giant cedar tree, an Indian cedar tree. It was growing for like 30 years in the backyard of a couple that was into yoga. So they somehow must have gotten hold of this Indian tree, planted in their garden. It grew up until it was too big, and now they had to chop it down. And I got 2 of these tree discs, and I'm making them into a coffee table.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so I was there when it was chopped down. Then I dried it for a year and a half, and it split open, and I am filling it with epoxy right now. So there's epoxy curing right now in the garden, in the workshop. So I cannot make any dust in there right now, because then the epoxy will be ruined.
So you actually helped cut it down, is that right?
No.
Well, you saw it cut down. It's
I was part of it.
We're at one of our old house, we we had a bunch of trees in the backyard, and sometimes I would cut those down and make something on my lathe or something. And it's just the most amazing feeling to say, okay, I took this from nature and turned it into something that I enjoy. I guess you're doing the same thing, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, it was a great experience, seeing this giant log, and soon I'll have a full video of it from fresh cut to finished product.
Nice. So you took video when it was being chopped down and such?
Yes, I did, but I'm not sure if I can use it. It seems a little bit corrupted, the file.
That's too bad.
But I have to see if I can salvage that or not. I didn't plan back then to make a video of it.
You just steal some footage or chop down another tree, and somewhere.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, I drove past just through a village, and there were these giant discs lying on the ground. They were 1.5 meters, so in foot that's 5 foot.
Yeah, roughly
5 foot. Yeah, like a short person.
Yeah, that's right.
And I knocked at the guy's door that was living there. They were lying in his front yard, and I said like, "Can I have one?" He said like, "Yeah, just give me 20 euros." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, awesome." And I was thinking, wait, how am I getting this back home?
Oh yeah, that's the problem.
And ultimately, I decided I could have fitted it on the trailer if I had gotten back home, got the trailer, but then I couldn't even lift it I wouldn't have a place to store it at home, so I had to leave them there. Unfortunately.
So now, do you have a one-car garage, or what's your workspace look like?
One car garage, and yeah, I've got a big CNC in there, so that's a lot of space. It's getting too small. I'm hoping to move to a bigger property soon, but until then, I have to manage with that.
No, it's if you got it dedicated, I guess that's not too bad.
Yeah.
I've got about a one-car garage, one car space that I can use. The rest of it's, stuff, storage and such. So,
kid stuff.
Yeah, kids, exactly. So, we're
a hurricane kit. Are you prepared? Irma's coming.
We're prepared enough, I guess. I suppose, if something too bad happens, we'll get out of the coastal area.
Yeah.
So we should be okay.
So you're living inland, right?
Yeah, we live, about 10 miles from the water. So I mean, maybe that sounds insane. I don't know, but it's not, I don't know. I grew up in Florida, so it's not, maybe I'm a little bit too,
You sound chill.
Yeah, maybe I'm too chill about it. It seems like everybody's panicking, but I'm like, look, it won't be here for another couple of days, and I'll be,
So for me, I have no idea how a hurricane is like. I've seen some footage, of course, but the biggest storms we have here are maybe 160 kilometers an hour, and they only last a night.
Okay.
Are you boarding up your windows, or?
No, not yet. No. Honestly, growing up, it was, as a kid, you're just like, oh, hurricanes are awesome. You get to go out of school for a couple of days, play in the mud, and then it goes away. And then, as I got older, you could go surfing when the hurricanes come, and so I don't know. Maybe that's a bad attitude, and hopefully I won't listen to this in a week.
I always thought it's these idiots that go surfing in front of before the hurricane comes, but people like the population does that, like general people.
I mean, not everybody. Maybe. I
always thought it's like madman.
Maybe I qualify. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, if you do go surfing before Irma, please shoot some footage of it.
I'll have to do that. I don't know. My surfboards have been sitting in the backyard for a year or so I need to. Maybe it's time to break them out.
So yeah, let's move on to the next segment. It's called Show and Tell. And we know that there are a lot of creative listeners out there. So if you created something yourself, we would love to discuss it on our next show. We want to listen to your story, basically. Whether you built a piece of furniture or set up an event or created some art, just send us an email or a tweet, I guess, on Twitter. The best thing would be probably Jeremy S. Cook on Twitter, because it's easier to type in, or Max_Maker_YT for YouTube. So just drop us a message and we'd love to invite you and talk about your showpiece.
Ian, did you see anything interesting this week?
Definitely. Lots of cool stuff this week. And the one that stood out the most was this Jumanji board somebody built. And that person's name is, I've got it here, Steve Richter. Or Richter is the German name.
Right. Now, is he a German? Do you know, or is he
I think he works in America. He's a prop maker.
Oh, okay. Very, very cool.
Yeah, you can check out his website on stevenrichter.org. And he made this Jumanji board. It's like based on a movie in the 90s. In this movie, it's like a fun family movie. There's this, I guess, cursed board game called Jumanji. And he actually built the prop. He replicated it from the movie. And he did it to such a detail. It's absolutely amazing. Did you watch the video?
Yeah, it was an amazing build. I mean, the first part starts off, a lot of good woodworking stuff, but then he goes into some casting and even screen printing type techniques. And I was just amazed at the breadth of what he's able to do. I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So many techniques.
I mean, I guess you said he is a prop maker by trade. Is that correct?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, he definitely is correct. This guy has so many techniques. I was a little bit intimidated at first, and then I figured, he must be a prop maker, because he really reminds me of what Adam Savage does in his videos. He cast some stuff there. He did clay modeling. Then he cast epoxy into the clay molds, or made a mold first. Then he painted what he cast.
Right.
And he painted to such a cool detail. It looks absolutely stunning.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, absolutely, it was stunning. And then at the end, I wasn't quite sure what he's using the magnets for, but then he throws the dice, or not the dice, the pieces on it. They just pop into place, and I guess that's part of the movie. I never actually saw the movie. I remember it being a movie, but I guess I never had any desire to see it.
Yeah, I watched a trailer after this, and well, it looks like a movie. Let's let's leave it there. I was amazed by the special effects in the trailer, because knowing this was from like the early 90s, I think.
Right.
They have like artificial animals, like African animals, rhinoceros and elephants walking through a living room.
Oh, very cool.
And yeah, I have no idea how they did that, because my computer has problems processing videos just for YouTube.
Sure, yeah, it takes a lot of power to do that, even by today's standards.
Yeah, and it's 20 years after it.
But I guess we are dealing with HD video and stuff, so probably the standards were a little lower at the time. I mean,
we need to invite this guy and Steven.
Yeah.
I sent him an email, but he hasn't replied yet because it was a little bit late. But I hope he can come on the show and talk a little bit more about his experience, not just the project, but his experience in general. On his website, yeah, check out his website. He did lots of really cool stuff there. I see some Breaking Bad stuff, props.
Very cool. Yeah, and I saw you can, I guess, buy some of his stuff on Etsy too, which is pretty neat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool, giving back to the community. He doesn't want a lot of money for it, and you can make your own Jumanji board. I actually considered that. I don't even know how you play it.
Yeah, actually, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll build a Risk board or something. That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, he also had some really cool music in the video.
Yeah, that was nice. My son actually came in. He's like, "Oh, I want to watch that video," and he puts the headphones on. He's like dancing around. So it was like, okay.
Yeah, very unique music as well. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. All right, so I guess that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. This is the Creativity Podcast, the first episode of it, where art and engineering collide. We really enjoy it. We're planning to do this every other week. And if you'd like to, show us what you made, be a guest, share this with your friends. We'd always appreciate that.
Yeah, give us a thumbs up. If you have any feedback, please send us a message either on Twitter or on wherever you're watching this. And yeah, we're doing this for you guys, so we want to hear your feedback on it. Thanks for listening.
All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah, bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Awesome.
Well, I guess that's it.
Yeah.